Smart, smart, do. We are the children, the children of God. Come, come, come. We change our world. We have what it takes to do it smart and make it smart. Welcome to our Smart Do.
Hello, grade 4 pupils. Welcome again to today's lesson. We looked at light energy. We said that light is a form of energy produced when objects burn. So we still have heat energy. Heat energy is still a form of energy that is produced when objects burn. Anything that burns will produce both heat and light. So heat energy, I think for example you've seen some various heat appliances at home, maybe a cooking pot or a sufuria. What happens once you touch a hot sufuria, it will burn you because it has some heat. Once something becomes hot, it produces heat. That is what we call heat energy. So heat energy, it can be moved or can move from a hot point to a cold point. And that is what we call transmission of heat. Transmission or transfer of heat. We are going to look at heat transfer. Heat transfer, this is the movement of heat from a hot point to a cold point. Heat transfer is the movement of heat from a hot point to a cold point. And today I want us to look at something called conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat through solids. Remember we said that there are three types of materials. We have solids, the states of matter, solids, liquids and gases. So transfer of heat in solids is what we call conduction. Conduction happens when a solid like a metal is placed on a hot point. Heat will move from that hot point towards the cold parts of the solid. And that is what we are going to investigate today. We are going to have a candle. I want us to do it practically using a candle. We are going to use a cooking fat, and we are also going to use a metal, an hot substance, As you work or as you investigate or as you go through the experiment, remember you are dealing with heat, and heat can burn you, so you have to be careful as you handle. So we are going to have our candle. We light our candle to investigate conduction in solids. We are going to light our candle. So after lighting the candle, I'm using, this is a metallic substance. This is a hacksaw. Hacksaw is made up of using a metal. So we are going to have this metal. Then we are going to have cooking fat. We place cooking fat on one point of the metal. So we are going to place our cooking fat at this point. We are going to have our cooking fat at this point. We want to investigate conduction of heat. So this is cooking fat. So we place it on this part and try to see what will happen. Remember, you are dealing with heat, so this thing can burn you. So this is a metal. I'm using this wood for support. So this metal, the point that is near the fire, or that is on top of the source of heat, is going to gain heat. Then that heat is going to move from this point towards where we have the cooking fat, and then we shall see what will happen to the cooking fat after some time. So I repeat again, as you perform this experiment, take care not to burn yourself because you are dealing with heat. So we are burning this solid from one point on this side. So it is not going to gain heat all at once. It is going to gain heat on the part which is in contact with the candle. Then that heat is going to move all the way from this point towards where we have now our cooking fat. Let's look at what will happen after some time. Just to tell you in advance, After some time, this cooking fat will start to melt. It will start to melt, and it is already melting. It has already started melting. It will start to melt. So this will show that this metal, this solid, is transferring it from this point, from the hot part, this way, to where we have the candle. It is already melting. You can see it is already melting from this point. Why? Because it has gained heat. Our cooking fat has already started melting. So this is now an experiment to investigate conduction. Remember, this thing is very hot, this metal, so don't touch it using your bare hands. Even if you can see this part is like it's not in contact with the source of heat, it can burn you. So conduction is the transfer of heat through solids. You can see this part is already melting. It has because it has reached this point. Heat has so far reached this point, so that is why it is melting. You can see it is melting. Why? Remember, we have not placed the candle here. The candle is on the far end. The candle is on the far end. You can see it is melting. There is some water, some liquid thing here, meaning that it is melting. So heat is moving from this hot part from the hot part of this metal towards the cold parts. So this experiment shows conduction in solids. I say that conduction is the transfer of heat in solids. And remember, not all solids conduct heat, so we are going to look at that in the next lesson. You can see we are still investigating heat transfer, that's conduction in solids. And you can see that this part is gaining heat, then the heat moves towards this part where we have our cooking fat. That is why the cooking fat is melting. We've not moved the cooking fat near the source of heat, but it is melting to show that there is transfer of heat. You can see it is melting. The cooking fat is melting. So that experiment shows heat transfer in solids. That is what we call conduction. Try to do that experiment, and as you do the experiment, take care not to handle any hot thing. Don't touch it using your bare hands because it is already hot. That is why it is bad. If it can afford to burn cooking oil or cooking fat, why not you? So as you perform that experiment, take care not to burn yourself. That is all about heat transfer in solids. That is what we call conduction. Thank you. That is what we call water vapor or steam. Steam is a gas. Another example of a gas is smoke. Smoke is an example of a gas. And we also have dust. Smoke and dust, we can see them. We can also see water vapor. That is why we say gases, we only feel them. We can only feel the gases, and you cannot touch. You cannot just go and touch gas and touch dust. Then you say, I'm holding dust with my hands or on my hands. Or you cannot go using a cup and fetch dust or smoke and come telling me that I'm coming with the dust or smoke. You cannot touch dust. You cannot touch smoke. You cannot touch water vapor. You cannot touch any example of air, that is oxygen, carbon dioxide, and but you can enclose them in a container. For example, we say that there is air that is enclosed in this globe or in this ball. There is air enclosed in it. So we can only enclose gases in containers because we have the gas cylinders that we use when cooking at home. Those are, or even the fire extinguishers, they are filled with gases. So those are the three states of matter. I say that matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. We say that matter exists in three states. Exists in three states or in three forms. That is, those are solids, liquids, and gases. We say that solids are things that we can touch and we can see, and we've given examples. We say that liquids are things that can flow, and we've given examples. And we say that gases are things that we can only feel. We cannot touch gases. We cannot touch gases. We only feel gases. That is air, water vapor, dust, smoke, and all the three or other examples of gases. So those are the three states of matter that we are looking at today. And I wish you all the best. Thank you.